What's a rule that was implemented somewhere that massively backfired? My company has a strict no alcohol policy. You can't begin work within 10 hours of having had a drink. So whenever there's a staff shortage and they need me to come in right away, guess who just cracked open a cold one? My work has an infraction system. If you're a minute late, that's half a point. If you're up to 4 hours late, that's half a point. So if you're going to be a minute late, you might as well be 4 hours late because it's the same penalty. Edit, for those who keep pointing out that you would miss 4 hours of pay, I know. My work is weird and lets you fill in missing time with PTO at the end of the work week. We also don't get sick days. So you have to take PTO if you are sick, and even then you're likely to get points because you called in less than 24 hours before your shift starts. It's not an issue if you get half a point and don't get another for 6 months because the first one will have fallen off by then. English law in Wales set the death penalty for stealing a sheep. Welshmen caught stealing sheep would claim to be making love to them. They would get a lesser penalty for bestiality. The consequence of this is they Welshmen gained a reputation as sheep shaggers. Sure, that's what the Welsh would like you to believe. My institute banned porn sites and its Wi-Fi. Most people weren't tech savvy enough or bold enough to ask how to bypass it. Then the institute banned Facebook. Everyone learnt using proxy in a matter of days. Let's just say the servers were under heavy pressure then onwards. A famous example from Freakonomics was when a daycare started charging a small fine for parents who picked up their children late. Instead of resulting in more on-time arrivals, the new policy actually caused more late pickups. This is because the parents were originally worried that a late pickup would be a significant burden on the daycare employees, but because the fine was so small, only a few dollars, they decided that it must not be a big inconvenience for the daycare. Alcohol bans at college football games has led to increased intoxication problems because fans are loading up before going in the stadium. Universities love to duck up with alcohol-related things. My university decided to pull over campus buses on weekend nights and give out tickets to drunk passengers, as well as look out for walking drunks. The following month had more dues than the entire previous year. Everyone's excuse was they were scared to walk or take the bus, so they drove. What right did they have to ticket drunk passengers or walkers? Is it illegal to be drunk? I mean, it might be on campus, but the buses surely don't count, right? What right did they have to ticket drunk passengers or walkers? Is it illegal to be drunk? It falls under public intoxication in some areas. I'm wondering if OP is from Oklahoma because that's a very, very common arrest here. Assuming their laws are similar, it's illegal to have any amount of alcohol in your system anywhere that's considered public. This includes being a passenger in a vehicle and anywhere visible from a public road or property. This means you can literally be arrested for drinking in your own yard or on your porch. When I was in school, the cops would question anyone they saw outside smoking after dark to find if they had anything to drink that night. They would also break up parties and force people to leave so they could make easy arrests right there. At one point they were even pulling over the taxis leaving the bar just to arrest the occupants. Thankfully the taxi and bars banded together and threatened a lawsuit and they backed off. The result is that literally everyone I know who drinks also drives, even if it's just a few blocks. Walking late at night is pretty well a guarantee of being stopped. It's all about money. Every person they get does at least a night in jail and is an easy $100 or so for the city. It obviously also increases DUI arrests, and that's thousands of dollars for each. It's nothing to do with safety, only profit. I worked at Macy's one Christmas and found out the reason why you can never find anyone at the registers is because they don't allow employees to stand at the register because it's intimidating. I can't tell you how many times I gave up trying to purchase something there because I couldn't find anyone to ring me up. Last summer in Sweden, bus drivers in some counties started wearing shorts due to the heat wave. After being denied to continue doing so by management, they started wearing skirts instead. Dress code policies ban shorts, but not skirts. This happens a lot every summer in UK schools. Boys turn up in shorts, get told to go home because it's not allowed, so groups of them go in skirts because there isn't a rule about those. Normally gets printed in the local paper and sometimes picked up by bigger outlets, gets the school some bad publicity, and they usually change the rules to allow shorts. Really odd that lads can't wear shorts, they work just fine with a school uniform. Just William springs to mind. One of the high-rise blocks I have to maintain has a sign saying anything left here will be removed due to it being a fire risk. People just dump the shit there they don't want, like fridges and sofas, and by law we have to take it. Duck me right, edit. I have no authority to put up cameras as they are council blocks and I'm a council worker that has zero help from management because quite frankly they don't give a shit because they don't have to remove it. Congrats British taxpayers, you pay me to remove pieces of shit's fly tipping daily. I'm sorry for the shitty human beings on this earth. Where is this? Asking for a friend. n.wikipedia.org Wikikobre effect. The British government was concerned about the number of venomous cobra snakes in Delhi. The government therefore offered bounty for every dead cobra. Initially this was a successful strategy as large numbers of snakes were killed for the reward. Eventually, however, enterprising people began to breed cobras for the income. When the government became aware of this, the reward program was scrapped, causing the cobra breeders to set the now worthless snakes free. As a result, the wild cobra population further increased. The apparent solution for the problem made the situation even worse. Edit, apparently someone else already posted this, my bad for not checking the thread. Dry counties were meant to reduce use of alcohol in certain areas, but they result in people who want to get drunk driving further away from home to do so, increasing the odds and frequency of drunk driving accidents. Also many attempt to rescind dry county laws end up getting countered by campaigns paid for by the bars and liquor stores that set up on the edge of dry counties, typically under the guise of religious messages. This exact thing happened here a few years ago when it was on the ballot. Two measures were up, one to allow alcohol sales at the state level, and one to allow it at the county level. A few counties passed it at the county level but voted against it at the state level, so that their county would be wet in the middle of dry counties and they'd get out of county revenue. My county voted against it at both levels, with help of $1 contributions from the largest liquor store just on the other side of the county line. We're a county with 3 colleges and they currently get all of that revenue. If we were to go wet, it'd cost them far more than they contribute to the campaign against it. It sucks. Central Arkansas, I'm guessing. At least we have all these private clubs to drink at now. The worst part is all the restaurants have to buy from liquor stored instead of distributors. The county line liquor stores just love it. In French Indochina, there was a major problem with rodents eating supplies and bringing disease. Given the plentiful supply of cheap unemployed workers, the colonial authorities thought they could be used to kill the rats and bring their numbers down. The French had a somewhat racially prejudiced view of the work ethic of the locals, so decided to pay them per rat killed rather than per hour worked. Each was compensated for every dead rat they handed over. A year or so later, the colonial authorities discovered the peasants had set up rat breeding farms in the jungle. Sounds similar to the cobra effect. I had a teacher that told us about this happening in Italy, and when they took away the bounty for the snakes, people just released the snakes they had been breeding into the wild, in numbers larger than the population was before trying to get rid of them. Yesterday in Kenya, our governor in Nairobi banned public transport from getting to town so people had to walk long distances to work. And since we don't have enough pavements, people ended up walking on the roads, like 3,000, and there was a traffic jam that lasted for more than 5 hours. The next day the ban was removed. People walking on the highway. What was the goal of banning public transport? They thought public transport was the reason behind all the traffic jam and noise pollution. Which is wrong. How does that even make sense? What strange logic? They aren't public transport in the Western sense. They are privately owned minibuses. What difference does it make? Any vehicle that holds more people is going to reduce traffic compared to a vehicle that only holds a few. Exactly, maybe it was just a nonsense excuse to squeeze the drivers financially or politically in some ongoing power struggle. Washington state made it mandatory for schools to drop their room temperatures to save on electricity. The result? Teachers brought their own heaters into their offices, and use of electricity increased. Not a law. By my school does this and have made it clear it costs $1,000 a day to heat our building. They drop the temp, it can be 50 degrees F in the morning in my classroom. Everyone has space heaters, which are illegal, fire code. Admin maintenance freak out over it. But refuse to turn up the heat, as they sit in their separately heated offices at a comfortable temp. Get some GTX 480 in the school computers, they are cheap and generate tons of heat.